Hey friends, my name is Aaliyah, and for those of you who are new to the channel, the goal with this channel is to help make all things Mexico sound not so foreign to foreigners. And in today's video, we'll be showing you three things. One, how to fill out the application to finish the residency process in Mexico. Two, how to fill out the Formato Basico. And three, how to fill out and complete the Pago de Derechos to complete your residency in Mexico. So let's dive right in. You'll first start by going to the website on the screen, and then go to Trámites Migratorios. You'll see a number of applications or trámites appear, and you will be looking for Expedición de Documento Migratorio por Canje. So we'll click that. And once you click that, you'll be taken to this page where there are three drop-down menus. The first one is your application, and that's what we'll be looking at first. So it's your solicitud here, and if you desire, you can switch it to English. For the purpose of the video, I'll keep the application in Spanish though. So you'll start by clicking ¿Qué deseas hacer? What would you like to do? You will scroll down to Canjear aquí. Next is specify what you would like to do, and you will also click Canje. What makes it easier is if you see Canjear and Canje. Those are the two drop-down menus that you would like to select. And next, you go to the information of the foreigner. If you know your NUE number, you can check this box and enter it in. But most of you who are completing step 2 of the residency process will not have an NUE number yet. If you have a CURP, you can enter it, but again, you may not have a CURP, and it's not a mandatory field. But the mandatory fields are marked with an asterisk. So we'll start here by putting your first name, and if you have a middle name on your passport, put that here as well. Apellidos is your last names. If you have one last name on your passport, put that here, but if you have more than one, make sure you put that here. Sexto is your gender. Fecha de nacimiento is your date of birth in the format of 2 digits for the day, 2 digits for the month, and then 2 digits or 4 digits for the year. Next is your nacionalidad actual. So if you're from the States, you'll put estadounidense. And next is your civil status. It's not required, but you have the option of single, married, divorced, widowed. Next, you'll scroll down and you go to the place of birth. So it's the country that you were born in, país de nacimiento. And estado, provincia, or departamento is the state. We'll scroll down and we'll put in our passport information. Passports are usually the easiest document to use, so I'll select passport here. And then número de documento is putting the passport number in. The país de expedición is the issuing country. Fecha de expedición is the date of issuing of the document. Fecha de vencimiento is the date of expiration. Next, you will go to your address here in Mexico. If you don't yet have a long-term address, you can put your hotel or your Airbnb's address. And once you get your temporary residency visa or permanent residency visa, you can then change it later. Here's the zip code or código postal. Next is the state in Mexico that you'll be in, the municipality, the colonia, the calle, and the número exterior. So say the address was 105, apartment 3B. The address 105 would be here, and apartment 1B would be here. You'll see that a telephone number is not required with an asterisk, so I'll leave that part blank. Next, you will scroll down and you will enter in an email address. It's important that you have access to this email address in case they send any information regarding your temporary or permanent residency visa. So put in an email that you have ready access to. Now that we've done that part, you have a facilitator. You can add their name in or add anyone that you want to receive notifications or act in your behalf in regards to this application. But if you don't have anyone, no worries, it's not required. And there's also a section here for comments. Again, that's also not required, so don't feel obliged to put anything there. Next, you click Guardar or Save. It asks, is the information correct that you've typed in? Next, there's a survey, should you desire to do one. This here is your application number, and this would be your clave or your password if you needed to reprint this. But you print here, imprimir ahora, and you'll see a form will pop up here with all the information that you typed in. I would go through, I would verify, make sure all the information is correct because they will double check it at the office. And the last page you will need to sign. So you'll put the place of the INM office that you are attending for the appointment, your name, your full name as it appears on your passport, the date in which you're attending this appointment at the INM office in the format of day, month, year, and then your signature. And that is it for the application. Now for the Formato Basico. For most offices, this is not a required form. And the only reason why we go through it is because these are the questions that they will ask you. And if you don't speak Spanish, it's good to have this as a cheat sheet. So we'll show you what these questions will be, as well as how to fill it out. First thing are your last names. If you have more than one last name, make sure you put it here. Your first names. If you have more than one, or a first name and a middle name, make sure you put that here. Sexto, hombre es for males, mujer es for women. Fecha de nacimiento is your date of birth in the format of day, month, and year. Next is your país de nacimiento, which is your country of birth. If you're from the States, you will put Estados Unidos de América, and your nationality, if you're from the States, is estadounidense. Remember that. Next is the type of document that you will use, which is your passport typically, so pasaporte. Next is the number of your document, so your passport number, you'll put that there. Next is some complementary detail. So nivel máximo de estudios is your highest level of study, whether that be middle school, high school, university, master's degree, etc. And next is the área del conocimiento, so it's your area of study. So for me, highest level of education would be a bachelor's degree at university, and the area of study would be nursing or BSN. Habla español? Do you speak Spanish? Next is your number of children that you have, if you have any. Next is the religion you profess, if you have one. And then here, entre qué calles se encuentra en su domicilio. So which streets, so basically what are your cross streets in your area? So if you know where you're living, your domicilio, your address here in Mexico, I would pin it on the map and pull it up to show the person so that they can help you with the two streets, or know familiar areas around, or just know the two cross streets for your address here in Mexico. Next is more details about yourself. Estatura is your height. Peso is your weight. Next is color de tez, which is, I would say, your skin complexion, the color of your skin. But most times they'll just look at you and write down what they think you are. This next one is any distinctive features, I would say. So they give the example of tattoos, moles, or scars. So again, they'll look at you and they'll see if they see anything and they'll write this down. But if there's anything that you would like to let them know, feel free to jot that down so that you can let them know. Next is your previous place of residence. So it asks país de residencia antes. So where were you at before you came to Mexico? Where were your primary residence? If it was the United States, Estados Unidos de América. The name of the city, municipal, condado, sector, is compared to the county in the state that you're from. And then this is, of course, the state or the province. Next is for minors. You'll put the complete name of your father here, as well as his nationality, and then the complete name of your mother here, as well as her nationality. This next section here is for actividades en su país de residencia. So what did you do in your previous country of residence? Primarily for work. So it says actividad principal. So were you employed, empleado, or desempleado? Were you unemployed? Were you a housewife? Were you a house dad? You would put that here. Situation, situación en el trabajo. Were you part-time, full-time, half-time, no time? And next is your occupation and work. So for me, that would be nursing. And then here is a sector of your work. So then for me, that would be healthcare. But if you were an electrician, it would be electrician here. And then your sector would be construction. And then here asks for your average monthly income in pesos. So if you want, you can use the same figure that you used at your consulate, or you can write whatever you desire here. The next is asking you for your activity in Mexico. So will you be employed remotely? Will you be unemployed? Will you travel? Will you be a housewife? Whatever your actividad principal, you can put that here. Situation, are you full-time, part-time, remote, no time? You would put that here. Occupation and sector is the same as before. And if unemployed, feel free to leave it blank. And the same question, how much will you be making in pesos on average a month? This next section, this next section is for, if I'm being honest, I do not know what this one is. So if you know, you know. I don't know. I would assume it's for agricultural workers based on the questions, but it's one of those subheadings where it's only for those people who know what it's for. It asks for your years of experience here in Mexico, the type of crop, as well as the benefits. So if this applies to you, you'll know and you'll fill that out. But for most foreigners watching this video, this section will not apply to you. And then there's a declaration, signing, putting the state where you're at the INM office, as well as the date that you signed it. But again, you won't necessarily need to sign this piece of paper because you will sign the electronic pad at the INM office. This is just a cheat sheet so that you'll know what questions they ask you if you don't speak Spanish. Now we'll be looking at how to fill out the Pago de Derechos. If you're filling out for just one person, it's física. If it's for a business or a group of people, it's moral. Generally, you'll click física. And then your first last name here, your second last name if you have one, and then your names that you have either on your passport or whatever identification that you'll be using at the I&M office. Typically your passport, so if you have your first and your middle name, make sure you put that here. If you have an RFC or if you have a CURP, you can put it here, but it's not required, nor do you have to. Just make sure your names match your identification document exactly, and then you click continue. Next, it asks the type of tramite or servicio. And if you're coming here for step 2 of the residency process, what you'll do is you'll click this one here. And how do I know this is the correct one? Well, when you go to the requirements for this tramite, it tells you here which one you want. So once we click that one, you will click the state that you'll be applying in. So next, once you click your state, your place, you click continuar or continue. Next, it will give you your clave or your PIN for reference, your quota. And what you can do is imprimir or print this, or all the information that you entered correct. Right, you click accept, and it will generate your Pago de Derecho. Once it generates your Pago de Derecho, I would make sure all the information is correct, especially your names, because they will check it when you go to pay for it. And then with this Pago de Derecho, you can take it to any bank in Mexico. You don't necessarily have to have an account there. You just go there with the exact money and your identification. They will check to make sure your signatures match once you sign the document, and the signature on your identification document, most often your passport. They will then hand you a copy of the receipt that you signed. Make sure you make a copy of the receipt as well as this form and bring it into your appointment with you. Now, this isn't necessary, as most I&M offices in Mexico have credit card terminals now that accept both Visa and MasterCard. If you have either one of those credit card issuers, you'll have no problem paying your Pago de Derechos in the office. But make sure, as a reminder, to tell your issuing bank that you'll be out of the country so that it isn't declined and you need to do this step all over again. I hope that was helpful. If it was, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Hasta pronto, friend. See you soon.